Los Angeles, once the city of angels, now a city of shadows. You've heard about the homelessness crisis, but what if I told you it's not just the economy or housing anymore? Wildfires, floods, and even invasive wildlife are now fueling the spiral. Picture this: neighborhoods washed out, families fleeing, animals displacing the displaced. Meanwhile, former teachers and nurses are sleeping in cars, trapped in a system collapsing faster than we can count. Over 195,000 people in LA are unhoused. But here's the twist. This crisis no longer spares the middle class. On Romekind today, we uncover how nature's fury and human neglect are turning LA into a battleground for survival. Stay tuned. The truth may shock you. Number 1. Middle class pushed to the margins. Imagine waking up in sunny Los Angeles, home to red carpets, Coachella vibes, and $1 million latte. But your paycheck disappears faster than a swipe on Tinder. Housing prices are skyrocketing, and even teachers, nurses, baristas, the very people who keep the city alive, can't catch a break. According to Investopedia, the average U.S. home price hit $367,711, and monthly costs soared to $2,412, eating up 34.73% of median income, well above the reasonable 30% spending cap. Here's the plot twist. Middle-class professionals are now crashing in their cars, motels, or couch surfing at friends' places. They've gone from stable to precarious overnight. The HUD point-in-time count reported that on a single night in January 2024, nearly 771,480 people experienced homelessness in the U.S., the highest ever recorded. That same year, America saw an 18% spike. Chronic stress, broken sleep, fraying mental health. The ripple effect is real, and in 2025, homelessness jumped another 30% nationwide. But here in LA, it's more brutal. People with good jobs are working Uber shifts, scrambling to pay rent. Their one missed paycheck from a motel room, or worse, living in their truck. When those who once called this city home can't even rent here, what does that say about its future? How long can LA last when its backbone, the middle class, is living in limbo? When your neighbor, your barista, or your kid's teacher doesn't just work in the city, but is part of its unhoused community, what breaks first, the city or their spirit? Does LA collapse without them, or do they collapse first? Middle-class housing fragility isn't a subplot. It's the headline, "The American Dream," now stamped with an eviction notice. Number 2. Building more, but no one lives there. Build it, and they will come, unless you price them out first. That's the uncomfortable truth, etched into LA's skyline. Shiny new towers shoot up faster than weeds, yet inside, crickets. These buildings look like art for investors, not homes for families. It's a bold statement. Los Angeles is constructing more housing than ever, but the homelessness crisis rages on right outside their polished lobbies. Let's talk numbers. City planners say LA needs 312,500 units each year to address all income levels. But in reality, only around 87,000 new units get built, and most of those are sky-high luxury or mid-range condos. Meanwhile, the poverty visible on the streets grows unchecked. Imagine tens of thousands of working families locked out while apartments stay empty in downtown LA at a 13-year high vacancy rate. Neighbors pass ghostly buildings on their walk to tent cities. Sounds surreal? It's happening. The usual supply-side pitch goes like this: build more, prices drop. But when every new project is gold-plated and 6 figures to enter, those dwellings aren't homes, they're trophies. They inflate local prices and raise the bar higher. Teachers, nurses, office staff, they're left scavenging for chews in the urban margins. The math doesn't add up because the model is broken. It's enough to make you laugh bitterly. Some investor snaps up 50 units, leaves them empty for capital gains, and calls it strategy. Meanwhile, garage interiors become student dens. That's LA's twisted irony. Structures full of potential that shelter no one. What's the solution? Should LA build differently, say by capping luxury floors or mandating affordable units? Or is the real fix rethinking housing as a human right, not an investment vehicle? Your voice matters. And here we are, glittering towers with no neighbors and streets with no homes. If this hits a nerve, tell us below. Just comment empty homes or build better, because your words count more than vacant floors. And hey, stick around. What comes next in this story might just surprise you. Rome kind, where the untold side of the city comes to light. Number 3. The trickle-down housing myth. Ever heard this bedtime story? Build for the rich, and eventually, homes, will trickle down to the rest. Spoiler alert, in LA, this fairy tale ends badly. The idea that luxury towers will magically pull prices down for everyone else is more myth than math. Instead, we're seeing prices rise across the board, as high-end units set the tone for the entire market. Let's get real. Renting a new 2-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles now runs over $3,500 per month. That's only feasible for households earning north of $140,000 per year. In other words, it's a luxury product. No middle-income family stands a chance. So what happens to the middle class? They're in a brutal limbo, too affluent for rental assistance, yet too strapped for luxury market rates. They're the ones getting squeezed into the margins, fighting for crumbs. Meanwhile, vacancy tells a dark tale of excess. Brand new luxury units sit empty, even as thousands sleep on sidewalks and in cars. Investors are treating homes like stocks, buy, hold, flip, not like places to live. This isn't conjecture. It's visible. It's right there in the skyline. Gleaming towers with barren interiors, while tent encampments fill the streets below. And that gap, it's more than just physical, it's emotional, it's heartbreakingly human. So here's the bitter truth. Luxury housing is not a boon for everyone. It's a barrier. While fancy units gather dust, people who once kept the city humming watch helplessly from the curb, waiting for a miracle that'll never come. What does that say about a city where finance trumps family? A city where homes are assets, not shelters? I want to hear you. Have you personally felt priced out by a new development near you? Seen empty condos spring up while neighbors lose their place to live? What's your story? Drop a comment and let's unpack this together. Because real life in a city chasing gilded dreams shouldn't be just for show. Number 4. Real estate as stock market. Remember when buying a home meant planting roots? Now it's about flipping, bidding wars, and hedge funds that don't even need a key to the front door. Homes in LA are no longer shelters. They're traded like shares, hoarded like gold, speculated like crypto. It's real estate as stock market. And guess what? The middle class is locked out. With high taxes pushing affordability further into fairyland, average families stand aside watching. They swiped left, before even getting past the first swipe. Large investors, riots, hedge funds, private equity are snapping up entire blocks. They don't want families. They want returns. Once communities with working teachers or nurses, now battlegrounds for the highest bidder. Ordinary buyers can't keep up with all-cash deals. Houses get flipped overnight. One week, you're a homeowner. Next week, you're a bystander in the next price hike. Ever heard of the Ellis Act? LA's version of legal evictions. Rent-controlled units aren't safe anymore. Tenants are told to go. No fanfare, just notices. Families with generations in the same apartment find themselves packing boxes. No route, no history. Just another real estate transaction. This is homelessness crisis in slow motion. This isn't greed, it's math. When houses become assets, not homes, poverty wins. And guess what? The system makes it legal. So we ask, if you can't afford to live, are you even allowed to exist in the city? What did you expect when your house is someone's retirement portfolio? What's next? Will LA wake up and say enough? Protect real people instead of portfolios? Will you comment if you know someone who's been pushed out? Because if Brickell from your high school can't stay, what about your cousin? The house used to be where the heart is. Now, it's where the profit is and where the people aren't. Number 5. Profiting off disaster. There's an old saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. In LA, even wildfires are a business opportunity for the wrong people. Los Angeles burned through hundreds of thousands of acres this spring, displacing around 275,000 residents. Instead of aid, some landlords saw dollar signs. After one blaze in Santa Monica, rent on a 5-room apartment jumped from $12,500 to $28,000 per month. That's a staggering 124% increase. And guess what? California law caps rent hikes during emergencies at 10%. Yet enforcement is so weak that these massive price spikes sail right through. It's like wildfire insurance for landlords, a free pass to exploit tragedy. Displaced families aren't being offered refuge. They are being priced out. They move from ashes to alarm clocks in motels they can't afford, and often from motel to motel. That's not redevelopment. That's profiting off disaster. The system is turning trauma into treasure. Sometimes I wonder, who decided that human suffering is a luxury tax? How did we let survival become unaffordable? Are we okay with landlords treating crises like ATMs? These aren't rhetorical questions. They demand answers. Because if we don't ask, who will? The victims of these wildfires don't just lose homes. They lose trust in the system. They lose hope in recovery. And they lose faith that laws mean anything. Imagine working your whole life for a place to call home, only to see it become an asset class for someone else. This isn't a dystopia. It's a reality unfolding on our watch. A tale of tragedy turned into revenues. Here's the twist. This pattern isn't limited to Santa Monica. Throughout California, after each wildfire season, rent spikes follow. We're in a loop where crisis equals cash flow for investors, while families are left scrambling. Do we really want normalcy to be landlord windfalls post-disaster? Are we going to sit by while landlords treat crisis like an ATM? Or are we going to push for real, enforceable laws at the city and state level? What changes should we demand? Rent control enforcement? Emergency housing support? Stronger legal penalties? Are wildfires just another payday for landlords now? If this part struck a nerve, drop a "Protect Families" in the comments. And hey, take just 10 seconds to subscribe to Roamkind. We're here to share the stories that matter. Let's keep going. Number 6. policy gaps, and misplaced priorities. Imagine a puzzle where none of the pieces fit, yet everyone insists they do. That's LA's housing policy. The city, county, state, and federal governments all claim they've cracked the code, but when the dust settles, the cracks just spread wider. California's latest move? Propose merging 4 state agencies: Housing and Community Development, Housing Finance, Civil Rights, and the Interagency Council on Homelessness into one California Housing and Homelessness Agency. The goal? Less bureaucracy, faster results. Experts admit fragmentation undermines the state's ability to efficiently deliver affordable housing. Sounds good, but where's the impact? Meanwhile, LA County's 2025 budget is nearly $47.9 billion. Even as January wildfires caused over $1 billion in damage, affordable housing remains a budget footnote. No emergency has sparked systemic reform, and residents can't wait forever. The city touts plans for 500 affordable units per year. Yet 9 out of 10 California renters spend over 30% of their income on housing. Many spend far more. Ambitious blueprints are one thing. Getting shovels in the ground is another. And then there's the legal maze. Laws like SB 9 and the Housing Accountability Act aim to bypass local resistance. But cities delay permits, stall zoning changes, and bog projects down. It's like racing in a marathon where every block adds another mile. Still, hope flickers. Faith groups push, yes in God's backyard, turning churches and malls into homes. Modular housing is gaining traction. These ideas show us what's possible when we stop treating housing like an afterthought. But here's the question. With billions allocated and streamlined plans in place, why are families still on the street? Is LA's housing plan a living document, or just an expensive PR pitch? Number 7. Working more, falling behind. Work hard, get ahead, they say. In LA, it often feels like work harder, stay stuck. The city hums with energy and opportunity, but for many, that hum is just background noise. Beneath the surface is a harsher melody, people pushing overtime, juggling shifts, and still finding their wallets empty at month's end. Cost of living here is off the charts. A basic one-bedroom rental easily tops $3,500 per month. Utilities, groceries, gas, everything feels unreasonably high. Yet wages? They remain stubbornly flat. The minimum wage hasn't budged, and countless workers pivot to gig jobs just to scrape by. Driver at night, freelancer by day, they're locked in a constant hustle. And yet the numbers don't add up. More work, no upward movement. This is the gritty reality for LA's workforce. Many clock 2 or even 3 jobs, yet fall straight into poverty. Let's do the math. A full-time minimum wage job brings in around $20,800 annually before taxes. Sound decent? Not when rent devours more than half. Add essentials, food, healthcare, transport, and there's nothing left. Nothing for emergencies, nothing for savings, nothing for fun. Wake-up calls are taking a toll. Burnout and stress have become hair-of-the-dog afterthoughts. People are mentally drained before breakfast. Weekends, relationships, hobbies, all squeezed out of schedules by unforgiving bills. Dreaming of Coachella or dating pipelines feels like reaching for the moon. Here's a twist. Some workers get raises only to see them obliterated by high taxes and rising rents. The net is zero. Step forward financially? Nope, still stuck. It's like sprinting up an escalator that's moving down. But hey, do you feel it too? Have you ever thought, If 30 hours a week isn't enough to pay rent, what hope is left? I want to know your stories. Should LA push for living wages, universal healthcare, stronger unions, or maybe cap rent hikes and tie wages to cost of living? A city where a paycheck is a treadmill, always running, never arriving. Ever feel like working full-time is just paying to exist? Tell me, yes, if your weekends belong to work too. No, if you still get some me time. Number 8. The younger generation left behind. Dream big, they said. Go west, they said. But for LA's younger generation, the dream has morphed into a brutal rent battle royale. In a city where a small studio goes for over $2,500 a month, younger adults are locked out. They're not just missing the housing market, they're invisible to it. Most launch their careers working multiple gig jobs. You know the drill: rideshare, freelance, barista shifts. It never ends. Yet, when they finally scrape enough for a deposit, they find themselves in a competition with Wall Street-type investors and tourists paying 3-month Airbnb rates. The finish line keeps moving. What's the cost? Delayed milestones. Marriage gets postponed. Kids wait. Home ownership becomes a joke in family group chats. Feeling stuck isn't just frustration, it's cultural stagnation. Mental health takes a hit. Plans fade, optimism dims, and we're not talking small numbers. Tens of thousands of young adults are packing bags and heading out. LA's brain drain is real. The city that once attracted talent is now letting it walk away because there's no room left. Who wants to start the next big tech startup or indie record label when you can't even find a 500-square-foot apartment under budget? Here's the kicker. The city touts itself as vibrant and youthful, yet it actively forces out young people. It's like running a party and kicking out the guests before the main event. Gentrification and luxury developments care little about the 20-something coder or the aspiring poet. Is LA's youth a sidelined audience in their own city? Are we losing creativity, innovation, community because of rent tags and investment strategies? I want to hear from the ones living it. Have you left LA because rent was too high? Or stayed and made it work against all odds? Share your experience. Your voices matter. Number 9. Global speculation warps housing. They say LA is a global city. That's true, but it's the city's housing market that's global now. Luxury condos bought as safety deposit boxes, not homes. Tower after tower sits empty. Meanwhile, people sleep on sidewalks. Foreign investors treat LA like an offshore account. Pay cash, no questions asked. Zero interest in local culture. Just cold, hard profit. It's homelessness crisis hiding behind glossy glass facades. Tourists check in, locals check out. Airbnb turned entire streets into mini hotels. One week they're neighbors, next they're an Airbnb listing. Permanent tenants vanish. Housing stock shrinks. Rents rise. Communities vanish. The heart of LA slides into commodified oblivion. Ask yourself, when were you last in a building filled with families, or filled with tourists, or filled with nothing? Ghost towers fill downtown. Investors keep them empty, waiting for prices to climb. If bricks could talk, they'd tell stories of displacement. Middle-income families waiting in lines for affordable units. But waitlists stretch for 5 years or more. That's like waiting for a Coachella ticket, but for a room. So they leave, move to Phoenix or Portland, cities where roots mean more than ROI. It's global speculation. It's not local supply and demand. It's capital crossing borders. It's money treated better than people. When homes become assets, not shelters, poverty takes hold. The math is brutal. LA brands itself as opportunity. But whose opportunity? Investors get tax breaks. Regular folks get price hikes. Who wins? The wallets, not the souls. Where do locals belong in that picture? What now? Will LA regulate foreign buying, impose limits on short-term rentals, or will we do nothing and watch our communities vanish one Airbnb at a time? Will you stay, or will you let LA become someone else's investment? If tower lights are on at 2 a.m., are people inside, or just money shifting? It's your city. What are you going to do? Empty windows, dark balconies, glowing lights at 2 a.m., not a soul in sight. If that feels familiar, drop "Where are the people?" in the comments. Because this isn't just LA, it's a global warning. Number 10. Communities falling apart. A city isn't its skyline, it's its neighborhoods, its people, its stories. In LA, those stories are being erased one eviction at a time. Walk through once vibrant streets in East LA or Highland Park, and you'll feel it. Cafes with names painted over, schools where kids no longer hear playground laughs. These are the signs of communities falling apart. Longtime residents are being forced out. Neighbors who once waved hello are suddenly strangers or gone. And it all happens quietly, block by block. Family dinners split between 2 zip codes. Friends lose their couches for new tenants who pay more. Grandparents lose their daily support system. This isn't abstract, it's real-life unraveling. Communities aren't just buildings. They're the meals shared, advice passed, trust earned over years. And those are gone too. Remember when you could walk down your block and bump into familiar faces? Now you pass luxury boxes and short-term rental listings. Is that progress or something else entirely? Each eviction is more than a family displaced. It's another thread pulled from LA's social fabric. Neighborhoods become ghost towns while developers toast champagne over city charts. How do you rebuild trust once it's been bulldozed? How do you nurture belonging in apartment lobbies, not porches? These feel like simple questions, but they define whether LA is just a network of assets or a living, breathing home. Still, there's a quiet resilience. Pop-up community gardens, block parties funded by neighbors, little free libraries installed on stoops, people reclaiming space, holding on. It's not enough yet, but it's proof that even when landscapes shift, spirit can survive if given a chance. Without community, LA risks becoming what no city should be, a collection of empty buildings and broken bonds. So here we are, a city of dreams, teetering between tech utopia and tent city. The middle class is slipping away. Housing is a stock market, and yes, raccoons and rising waters are reshaping where people can live. Strange times, huh? But what makes a city truly livable? Is it glass towers, or the people who teach our kids, serve our coffee, drive our buses? At Rome Kind, we're just holding up the mirror. No easy answers here. So, what do you think? Can LA still be a city for everyone? Or are we watching a beautiful place slowly price itself out of humanity? Drop your thoughts below. We're listening.